What's up? My name is Aaron. This is Barefoot Biomechanics, and these are 5 fundamental foot drills to improve your foot function, mobility, strength, and coordination. Let's get into them. So with these 5 foot drills, we're going to establish some intrinsic foot strength and then do some drills that carry over directly towards the gait cycle. The gait cycle is 3 parts. There is the early stance heel strike, our mid stance position, and then our late stance or toe off position as we're walking. So again, early strike, mid stance, late stance, the toe off position. So we're gonna work a drill to establish a good functional foot to begin with, and then take you through a drill for each of those 3 phases of the gait cycle, and then one to tie it all together to improve your foot function. So the first drill that we are going to do is a short foot exercise. We need a good short foot that we can pronate from. The short foot is when we have a good, strong, established arch that is not overly rotated to the outside. You want to be able to see somewhat of an arch, and for those with flat feet, that's okay. It's not the height of the arch that truly matters. It is the function of the arch and the foot that truly matters. So let's develop that function. So for our short foot exercise, we're going to be in a staggered position with our weight on our front foot. So we just got a little kickstand, about 80% on this front foot. And what we're going to look to do here is just simply lift our toes, which will shorten the plantar fascia on the bottom of the foot. And we should almost feel like our arch is doming and lifting to the sky. Again, if you have flat feet, don't worry about the height as much, as doing this exercise will improve the function of the foot regardless. So again, 80% of the weight here, we're gonna lift our toes and we'll feel our arch start to dome up towards the sky. And if we can add just sort of this intention of a lift at the top, that will get us a little bit more out of it. So we just lift all our toes at the same time, get that doming of the arch, and then reset. Every lift and return is 1 rep. One thing we want to make sure that we do is that we stay balanced in our tripod foot. The tripod is the first ball, the 5th ball, and the heel, and that provides a nice stable base of support for all of our foot functions and movements. When we're doing this drill, we don't want to lift our toes and roll to the outside. Now, when I did this, I lost contact with that first ball of the foot, or vice versa. I don't want to lift my toes and roll to the inside. They're losing that 5th ball. So again, from the side, we have a nice established tripod. We just lift the toes, feel that arch dome up, come up, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for about 10 reps per side, get a good lift and dome, find that balance, activate the toes up into the shin. You'll feel the shin muscles working a little bit. Most of the muscles that move the foot are actually in the shin. So, simple as that. Do about 2 to 3 sets per side, 10 reps apiece, just so you can see the left and I balance it out. All we do is keep that balanced tripod, lift the toes, the arch domes up, and that is what we're looking for. And then we get our reps in. So that'll provide us a good stable position to move into this second drill. So now we're going to work a heel strike early stance drill, and this is heel pronation. When we walk, right about here, we need our arch to drop a little bit so we can absorb shock and then produce force as we walk through the gait cycle. So the arch of the foot needs to be able to drop a little bit and then come back up. The short foot helps with the lifting, and doing the short foot first helps us have a good reference point, so then we can learn how to drop into the arch. And a heel pronation drill is a great way to do this. The heel is meant to be dynamic and mobile, and we're going to train just that. To set up for this drill, we're going to start with our knee just behind our ankle with most of our weight on this front leg. You can kickstand the back. To initiate this drill, we're going to unlock our knee and ankle, staying heavy on that heel and pushing that heel into the floor until my knee is just forward of my ankle. And then we will come back to the start, feeling that arch kind of lift and dome back up as we return. And then we are going to, again, push heavy into that heel as we go. feeling the heel mobilize a little bit and translate, and also that arch drop a little bit, and then we come back. The cadence we would be looking for with this drill is about this right here. Pretty slow so you can sense that movement, and it's a subtle movement. It's a relative motion of the foot joints. So the joints are moving and opening with that weight and with that appropriate intention. And if you need, you can also put a sock about right here under the arch close to the heel as a reference point to push into, so you can feel that sense of pushing through the floor with your heel as you move that knee towards your first and second toe. From the front, there won't be much to see here, but as I do that drill again, my knee is tracking my first and second toe as I push into the floor and feel that arch drop a little bit. You can also use a stick for mobility or a wall if that is what you need. So moving from that early stance to a mid stance. Oh, and by the way, about 3 sets, 5 reps each side, intentional and slow. So moving from that early stance to mid stance, we are now gonna do a mid-foot loaded isometric. We're gonna train some foot intrinsics with this one and carry those up into the calf, integrate from the foot into the calf. So to set up for this, I would use a wall or a stick because it is a type of balance drill. To set up for this, what we are going to look to do is, again, 80% of our weight on our front foot. Our knee is going to move over our forefoot and toes, so a little further than the last drill. We're going to lift our heel about 1/4 of an inch off the floor and keep it there the whole time, no higher than that. From there, we're going to look to press our foot into the floor like we're hitting the gas pedal of our car. So think of pressing the foot into the floor like this without lifting the heel. So knee forward, 1/4 of an inch, I'm pressing the gas pedal, and then the last piece is to smash the toes into the floor. We're not curling the toes. I want you to think of like a flat or down press of the toes. You should see those first knuckles of the toes start to turn a little bit white, so they're still long. Smash that forefoot, hit the gas pedal, smash the toes, and don't let the heel come up or touch the floor. From there, I can make this a little more difficult by taking more weight off my back foot or off the back foot completely. Again, you can use a wall for stability. And right now, I'm starting to feel a very strong sense and activation of my arch, of my plantar fascia, and up into the calf. I can feel my calf muscles working because, again, most of those calf muscles attach in the foot. So from here, we would hold this drill for 30 seconds a side, 2 to 3 sets per side. We can progress it with weight. We can progress it with more intention of that press to really fire up that plantar fascia and those intrinsics, or we can also progress it with time. From there, our fourth drill is going to be sort of that late stance supination position, but in reverse, while also working some of our big toe functions. Big toe has 4 functions. It is meant to, 4 functions are to pin, so we can anchor our foot and have a nice strong anchored foot in the floor. To pull, kind of like a curl. It is also to pivot when we do any sort of agility or change of direction. And it also acts as a rudder when we walk through the gait cycle. There's that rudder action right at the toe off. So we are going to work the pin and pivot of that big toe into a supinated foot shape. We worked pronation, now we'll work supination. And so for this drill, we would set up neutral. We're going to turn our foot about 45 degrees inwards, pin the big toe, pivot, and wind our foot into this supinated foot shape without over-rotating far to our outside and cranking our hip way to the outside. So we pin from that 45 degrees, pivot, and then establish a good balanced tripod of the first, fifth ball, and heel with that aligned and anchored toe. So then we just do this for reps. 45 degrees, pin, pivot, wind the foot into that strong supinated foot shape, which gives me great leverage and stability for stability drills, any sort of single leg actions there. So pin, pivot, wind, and when you do this, don't finish a little bit collapsed in the arch. It almost feels the same, but I want you to pin, pivot, and have almost a little more intention on that outside, but still a good balanced tripod foot. So from the side, I'm going to show this the side view a little bit staggered with the feet, just so you can see this foot and what's happening. Again, normally you would be in a neutral position when you do this. So I would turn 45. I would pin big toe, pivot, so I pull that big toe into a nice alignment, and then I finish with a balanced tripod and that slightly wound supinated foot shape, and then we just go for reps. Pin, pivot, and wind. About 10 reps per side, 2 to 3 sets per side in total. So then our fifth drill to tie this all together is a simple stability drill with a twist that will integrate these foot adaptations and work some stability, work on unlocking the foot and integrating it up the chain. So these are foot clocks. So it is a stability drill, again, with a twist. And what we can do to set up for this is we'll pick our target side, say the left. Let's pin and pivot so we have a nice neutral position, an aligned big toe. I'm anchored. I have a good, strong position of the foot up to the hip here. And for this foot clock, what we're going to do, and I'll show it without the stick, is keeping a balanced tripod foot with that anchored big toe. We're going to imagine a clock around us and reach our other leg as far as we can to touch various positions on the clock. So there was about 12 o'clock, there's about 2, 3 o'clock out to the side, 4:30, 6, on, and we work our way around the clock. The key to this drill is when you reach and touch, imagine there is a small little ladybug right out at the end, and you don't want to crush that ladybug. It's just a soft little tap, or you can even take the tap out completely and just reach for those positions on the clock as far as you can, but keep your toe off of the floor. If we reach out and we step and we translate our weight, then we're not going to get the full benefit of this drill. So to challenge this and make this a little bit harder, I'll show this from the side. And we can pin and pivot, establish that anchored foot. Then we can raise our heel about that 1/4 of an inch off the floor to make this a little bit harder. This will be a little bit more integration of the foot musculature into the calf and into the hip. Again, we're trying to keep that heel close to the floor, about that 1/4 of an inch. We're still not killing that ladybug as we move around the clock, still reaching as far as we can and trying to keep our weight on that front foot. Again, you can use a stick or a wall for stability. This is going to be a lot more challenging. So let me show this side again from an angle, pin, pivot, good tripod, elevate a 1/4 of an inch, and then we'll just go out as far as we can, keeping that light and small little float and not crushing that ladybug, doing our best. I'll try it without the stick to really keep that foot anchored. Ooh, yeah, that's tough. And strong as we move around, but I am feeling a ton of activity in the foot, in the toe flexors, up into the shin and up into the calf. And you can see in the video how challenging this is. So again, we'll do it with the stick this time as far as I can, really challenging those positions. So those are 5 fundamental foot drills that are going to go a very long way to improving function and mobility at the foot, along with strength, stability, and coordination. The foot clock, by the way, would do about 3 rounds per foot and 3 sets of those 3 rounds. So if you spend the time working on these drills and master them, it will go a very long way to improving that function, mobility, strength, which will directly carry over and translate to how well you walk, absorb shock when you walk, how well you produce force when you're running, you're jogging, how stable you are in functional strength movements such as a squat, a deadlift, a lunge. That stronger, more stable foot will then give you better activation and mobility up to the knee, get you better quads, get you better glutes, better mobility up the entire chain. Because if we're doing lunges and our foot looks like this, we are not going to get the full benefit. We'll be fighting ourselves the entire time. So give these a go. I appreciate you watching this video. Drop me a like or follow or a comment. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to me directly. If you have questions about the drill, you can also film these and I'll give you feedback so you can get the most out of them and really get that foot where you want to be so you can get those benefits in whatever your sport or activity is. Thanks for your time. I will see you in the next video.